and he would love to do an hour session with you guys, and specifically, so let me know if you'd like that. Okay. Oh, there's a privacy recording message. So please be aware you're being recorded. Don't do anything you don't want your children or your mama to see. Okay, that's my tagline right there. I'm dismissing it. We are being recorded. Yes. Okay, so let me go back. All right. So here we are in the library website. I don't know what that is. I'm going to go back from the beginning. my.troy.edu, I backslash it and do libraries. There are other ways to get into this. For example, just going to my.troy.edu and going into students. All right, I am signed in here, but I'll probably need to sign in again multiple times, like Cindy mentioned, right? Here's the live chat. So if I'm like, I need help, you can also always text. But, you know, instantly, if I put in my name and it's during the library hours, then a live librarian would be on with me from Troy University. It's not a bot. It's a real person answering my questions, and they are super. Again, here's how you get into databases. We may not have time to go over that, but if you like ProQuest or EBSCOhost, we can show you how to use those. Here's the library readiness mini class. So I do want to show you that, but first I want to walk through Cindy's request. And here's where you do interlibrary loan if you want a book or well, maybe not a book at the moment, but a journal article they can still do electronically if we don't have it. So here is the magic box, okay? They call it the Discovery Library Box, and we're looking at nonprofit grants. And again, I'm going to search articles this time, if that's okay with y'all. And I'm also going to move it to scholarly peer reviewed. Whoops. Okay, so it's making me type it in again. Nonprofit grants, that's okay. And if it, yes, Cindy, keep an eye on it. See if it tells me to sign in again, because I think that is a thing that I have to keep signing in. Okay. All right. So, yep, look at this. Yeah, you're right. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. Someday they'll be able to make it pretty seamless, but for now, I'll just do as they ask. And if Jay Brandis has a super workaround for this, I will definitely let y'all know. Okay, so here we are. And let's say we want to say incorporating community grant writing as a service learning profit in a non-studies class. I would see if there's a PDX full text, because I like looking at those right away. And my computer's being a little slow, but I could either read it here, or because I don't necessarily like looking at here, I can actually download it right there. So any questions about that, or what can I show you? What else can I show you about that search box? Download. This looks like an actually interesting article, so I'm going to download it. Okay. Let me go back to the library box while this is downloading. Oh, one moment. Okay, let's see. Y'all can still hear me, right? It froze. I tried to do too much at once, right? Erica's laughing at me because she's like, Dr. Waldner, you tried to do too much at once. So I'm going to stop that. Okay, it is save as, and it's not responding. It's just, I'm overwhelming my computer right now. Okay, let me go back to this. There we go. Come on. You can do it. I know you can. Robert, might need you to pull yours up.
That's fine.
Okay, there we go. Can you guys see me again?
Yes.
Yes, Long. Thank you, Long. Okay, so that is the function, the most important thing if you don't know anything else about the Troy Library. One is sign in and keep signing in. And two is this magic search box, otherwise known as the Discovery search box thingy. And remember that you can switch it to everything, articles, ebooks, anything you need. Any questions about this magic search box over here?
Wayman had a question about databases.
Yes.
This is, I have issues with databases. Seems to be a list of databases that do not have links for the titles.
Huh. Okay.
I'm not exactly sure what he means by that, but is there a specific database that you're looking for, Wayman? Could you give us just a little bit more on what you're talking about there? See if we can help you out.
we'll give Wayman a chance to chat that in, and then we'll go ahead and I'll show you some databases and how to get to the databases.
Wayman, if you're having audio issues, just type it in the chat, and we'll be glad to work with that in the meantime.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll go ahead and proceed, and if Wayman responds back in the chat, then Robert will tell me, Dr. Vilardi will tell me, and we'll go ahead. So we're still on the library page. We haven't left this page. We're holding on to this page for dear life. And so I'm going to go into the resources area that has all the databases. I like to start here because there are specific databases I like. So that's database by subject and alphabetically. Notice it is telling me, make sure to log in. So let me check. Okay, I'm still logged in. We're good. So that's the theme of the day. Log in, log in. Somebody unmute and tell me your favoriteest database you use. ProQuest, EBSCOhost. Is there anything y'all are partial to?
What are the databases? What are they for? What, how do you even know?
Ah, that's a great question. Oh, Robert.
I don't think I've ever used the database.
My goodness.
Well, and Wayman saying Digital Theater Plus for Mrs. Rodsman's class. Digital Theater Plus.
Oh, Wayman, you're challenging us today. Okay, so we will get there, Wayman, I promise. So, Cindy, to answer your question, a database is, each database is, what's the best way to explain it? Like a separate collection of articles, okay? So for example, there are some that focus just on science. There are some that focus just on music. There are some that focus on medicine. So often, depending on what your major is, Cindy, there will be certain databases that are very, very useful for you. And you'll usually use a couple of databases to find all the peer-reviewed articles that you need. For example, in public administration, we usually use EBSCOhost and ProQuest or Academic OneFile. And we'll ask Dr. Vilardi later what they use in his field. But for today, right now, I'm just going to go to EBSCOhost. And Wayman, I haven't forgotten about you. We'll get back to you. Here is EBSCOhost, okay? This is all of their database. So they're like different, like almost different supermarkets, right? You have Publix and Safeway and Walmart and Piggly Wiggly. They all just have a different set of articles and they specialize in different things. Okay, so here I am in EBSCO. This sign in might actually be signing into EBSCO, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and type in, what is this another subject besides nonprofit grants that one of y'all is studying? If you could unmute or put it in the chat box and let me know.
Government budgeting.
Okay, very good. Asked by the person who probably needs the least help using the library. So here we are, governmental budgeting. And I'm going to head and search. I could, of course, pick author, titles, but I'm just going to go ahead and search it all. Now, these are going to be journal articles. So once we're in the database sphere, unless you pick an ebook database, it's typically going to be articles. And I could also limit it to scholarly journals or how recent it is, all that kind of stuff. There's lots of limiters and stuff on this other side. I could also do an advanced search and say governmental budgeting and Alabama. All right, why not? What the heck, we're here, right? Well, I'm in Georgia, but it's okay. Oh, it didn't like that, did it? Okay, federal. So I'm combining. There's a lot of these tricks called Boolean searches that Mr. Brandis could show you. He's super and he knows all about that. But I'm just showing you the basics. So here's an ebook. Performance management. Let's see how we get these, okay? So you would just click on it and it may lead us to something else. Let's see. Okay, so let me see. I am signed in. I want to go ahead and restrict it to only things I can access today. Let me go back. Thank you for bearing with me. Okay, I want to do things that are in the library. Let's see. We need J here. I want to limit it to full text. Reference available, scholarly approved journals. So full text should mean that we can not get not only the abstract, but anything that comes up in the search should now be available to us. Okay. All right, here's the full text finder, but I'm going to open this up just like I would a regular link. Okay, so let me go back because I need to click that full text thing. Maybe I shouldn't have picked EBSCO because I'm not as familiar with that full text finder. All right, so this is what they're telling me. They're saying, I can get this article from Troy in ABIN form. Let's click this and see if it'll go through. Now, a less complicated way to do it is, if we know the article, is to put that article in the magic search box and it'll help get us there. So sometimes, Cindy, you're right, you have to go from place to place to place, but look at that. It did actually pull it up. I can even download a PDF because I'm forgetful, so I want to keep the article. But here it is right there. Okay, so what we did, just to back up, is we were in mytroy.edu/library. Let me go there again. Ah! Okay, so I'm in the university libraries. I'm going to bypass the magic search box, which is where I normally start, and I'm going to hit a database. I think I know what databases I want. So if you don't, that would be something that your librarians can guide you on. And then in the database, I would pick which one I want. In this case, we picked EBSCOhost through the E, but of course it could have been any of these databases. And then what we did is we put in what we needed. We limited it to full text and scholarly just because that's what we wanted to do today. You don't have to. And then, of course, we were able to click on it. And ultimately, by following that full text finder thing, we got here. So let me pause, because that was a far deeper dive than we had planned to do originally. And then, Wayman, I will ask your question, answer your question. Any questions about what we just did?
I think Erica had a question on keywords, which actually goes along with what you just did as well. Just to, as you're doing the searches, she was asking about, you know, any tips on keywords. And you know, in my own research, there's times where you know, if you can find the right word, then you can, you know, the doors magically open and you're able to find what you want. But if you don't have the right sequence of words, then you sit there, chase your tail, and I'm sure that's what she's talking about. And so my personal suggestion on that is, one, to try, you know, less is more. Find something that's, you know, that's similar to what you're talking about. So you go in and you're saying heroin versus opioids. So I start with, you know, just heroin and opioids, and I find an article that is similar to what I'm looking for. And then from there, I pull the reference list for that article. Pull, you know, where that article came from, what things did that article, you know, what is in their literature review, what did they reference, and, you know, or if you look at there's going to be keywords for that article, and what keywords did that article use, and if you that'll help you hone in on that particular topic or that particular, you know. Also, it may, you know, what article or what database did that article come from if you're using multiple databases. So if that one came from EBSCO or JSTOR or wherever, you know, you're going to find more of them in that area. So, you know, you start real broad, and then you narrow it down using, you know, indicators from the article that you found that's similar. That would be my suggestion. That's what
That's good. And I'd also suggest asking the Troy Online Library, Jay Brandis, and say, I am looking for research on opioids in Switzerland, because I know there's a couple ladies here that were doing that research and won a prize, a first place prize recently on that research. So, and you could say, Mr. Brandis, what search terms would you suggest? Because listen, I can either spend 20 hours finding the perfect search terms, or I could spend 1 hour asking Jay and then refining what he suggests to me. So the librarians can move you light speed ahead of where you can just by yourself. So I would also talk to them too. But yeah, I think Dr. Vilardi is a really good strategy. Start broad, then go narrow, and also ask a librarian. And then if you find a really good article, like Dr. Vilardi says, it's this kind of thing I want, send that article to the librarian, to Jay Brandis, and say, hey, I want more like this. What search terms? And he can actually do a backward search, like reverse engineer the search, and actually figure out, okay, the keywords for this article are X, Y, Z. And he can actually tell you what they were. So that's something else to try. So I'm going to share again, because I promised Wayman that we would look at, wait, Robert, what was the digital what?
It's Digital Theater Plus. There's right there on your screen. Down
is
below.
it?
Go down.
Oh,
go down
right
more.
there.
There
Yep.
it is.
Okay. Y'all are testing me on the fly here. Okay, Wayman, we've never done this, but we will do it just for you. I've never tried this. So can you ask Wayman to chat in the box, or Wayman, if you could chat in the box, tell me what kind of thing you'd like to find in here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and accept the cookies. Let's see. I don't have to, by the way, but. All right. So somebody tell me about a play or production you might want to see while we're waiting for Wayman to respond.
Wayman said that you found it. Let's see, Wayman, what have you looked for on this particular database?
While he's answering, holy cow, you guys, we can go watch a play tonight. This, I didn't even know this was here. This is awesome.
Dr. Waldner, what about Porgy and Bess? See if they have something like that.
Oh, yes, of course. I love Porgy and Bess. Okay. I love the music from that. That's Gershwin, right?
While
Zero
you're doing
match.
that,
Go ahead.
Wayman said that his issue was that he couldn't get to the website. He said the link you clicked to get to that was just text. It wasn't a usable link.
Ah, no worries. Okay, so it could be if you're going in from Canvas or from somewhere else. Let me go back and do Macbeth, because I know we could. So it could be that there's something, if your teacher integrated a link into Canvas, it could be there's something wrong with it and the link needs to be updated. But if you go, make sure you're signed in. Make sure you're signed into the Troy Library. Check up here, Wayman. But if you're signed in, you should be able to get to databases. All right, and I can send you guys this direct link if you want, but I'll show it from the home page. And again, we're recording everything. So anybody that wants to go back and watch this again and see Robert's cute bulldog, I'm totally going to watch it again just to see the bulldog. So again, I'm on the main library webpage. Well, main page. I scroll down. There's the search magic box, but I'm not going to go to the magic box. I'm going to go to databases. I find this one, the databases alphabetically, the easiest one for me personally, because I'm kind of slow and I like things really simple. So I just do this database by name, and then we can go to D for digital, or to your favorite database. Cindy doesn't have a favorite database, so we're going to talk to Cindy later and find out what your subject is, and find you a LibGuide that will show you what databases are really good for your field. Oh, I went too far. Forgive me, guys. Okay, then I go to this digital help. Where did it go? Digital Theater Plus. I logged in again. Make sure you're signed in. That could have been a source of error, was not signing in. There should be this big banner that says, are you signed in? Are you sure? Because you might have to sign in multiple times. But as long as you're signed in and you go in this way, Wayman, you should be fine. Okay. And if I couldn't get it, what I would do is go back to the library homepage and go to live chat or text them and say, I need help. Instant help, as long as they're in the office, or if not, they'll get back to you later. But they are super, our librarians are so awesome. So let me go back to the home page for the library, which I pushed out to y'all in the chat box. And again, I want to show you all these wonderful librarians, every single one of them. They're just amazing. And Jay Brandis is the online librarian. So for those of you that aren't at a campus, he's kind of going to be, or all of you could use him now because we're all sort of online at the moment, jb777@troy.edu. And he's the Troy Online Library, and they're all really wonderful. So you can get help multiple ways. And before we move on to another topic besides the library, there are a couple more things I want to show you, and then I promise we'll move on. So here's a library tutorial. There's also something called the Library Readiness Mini Class, which poor Erica and Catherine have seen a billion times. Okay, I'm already in it, but if you click that, it will get to enroll you. It's free. It's on demand for all Troy students. And so you can take it at will and you can skip around. So let's say you already know about plagiarism and research. You just want to know how to get help. You can go to this help thing and say, okay, teach me how to get help. So it says, librarian, reference, live chat, email, in-person help. Well, maybe not at the moment, but that will come back soon. Here's LibGuides, all this other kind of stuff, specialized resources for folks. So this could be a super resource for just learning how to use it. And I'll push this out in the chat box for a second. So let's say you want to learn how to find articles at Troy, because we have over 250 online databases. We seriously, I think, have one of the strongest online libraries in the country. So here it walks you through step by step. How do you use that magic box? And guess what? We put in 2-minute videos. All of these videos down here, they're only 2 minutes long. So you can actually watch somebody using that search box, the magic box, to find an article. And then it leads you through how do you find a peer-reviewed article. Simple instructions plus the 2-minute video. And I won't bore you by going through everything, but this could be quite useful. How to find a newspaper article. Watch 2-minute video, how to use citation linker. So this can be really good self-help stuff. So what I'm going to do for those of you that haven't seen this resource is push it out to you through the chat box. So forgive me one moment. I'm going to get back to the meeting area and just push that out in case you need it. So in a few minutes, we'll move away from the library because we have a lot of other cool tricks to show you today. But do you guys have any questions about the library? And would it be useful to have a 1 hour, or 2 hour training with a librarian?
Absolutely. Dr. Waldner, this is Erica. I wanted to simply mention that every now and then I'm reminded of what I don't know. And Catherine and I are so close to finishing. And although I've gone through the library tutorial and we've had these conversations and you've given us tips, I'm often surprised that I still don't know. And I don't know that I don't know what I don't know until I know it. And today, for instance, I never knew there was anything for a database for digital theater. I never saw that. I've never seen that before. I didn't realize. I guess I do know the tips for finding and using keywords, but it was still very difficult when we were doing the research on heroin and opioids. The other thing that was a problem for me was I am a natural procrastinator. And when I'm working, it's midnight, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, there's no one to call, right? And so I realized that I'm surprised that we've done as well as we've done without ever really knowing how to truly access all the information, if that makes sense. And so I don't know. So I'm appreciating the fact that you've had this coffee today because I'm learning still. And but I'm also a little frustrated. Because I'm like, wow, I guess I could have been I've never had a favorite database. Whenever I've gone onto the library, I've simply checked, all, and whatever comes up is, no matter what database they're in, I just assume that that's all that's available. But I've never said, oh, I'm going to just use EBSCOhost as the main one. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of just talking, but because I had one of those moments where I just felt like I should share that I really feel like I'm still learning. So I'm going to go back and watch the 2-minute videos and probably look at the citation linker, et cetera, because some of that stuff you guys exposed us to it in the beginning of the program, But if we didn't like incorporate it into what we were doing within that first class or the public policy class, then if it wasn't incorporated back then I have missed out in all the other classes. So maybe, but I wouldn't have, I guess I couldn't appreciate it during the second class as much as I can appreciate it during the 8th. Does that make sense? Yeah.
It not only makes sense, but I think what I'm hearing from you, and it might be a good idea, is we do need this kind of a forum to introduce new students to library services and really go through it with them. So I think I'm hearing you, and we welcome your feedback on how to get this training to you effectively. So any other questions on library before we show you our next little success tip?
I'm going to add in a little something there too. I know it's frustrating that you know you may not have it currently, but graduate school is around the corner, I'm sure. Are you in graduate school? Or are you in undergrad? You're in graduate school right now, or post grad? You know,
she's getting ready to do a doctoral program, possibly with Troy.
Yeah, and that's I didn't have a favorite database until I went, you know, until my PhD, and I guarantee you I found one real quick. So the hope is that you know, better late than never, but at the same time, like all these tricks and tips and things like that, hopefully they'll make your doctoral research a lot easier, I hope. And hopefully that'll and you know, now we have a little bit of information that we can, you know, pass on to the next set of graduate students too.
Good. Excellent. Okay, I am going to move on. I think I want to show you, I think we'll show you some of the career help next. Now they are offering like live sessions through Facebook and other things, which I believe they sent information out to all students, but I want to show you some of the on-demand resources. So we'll go there. And I'm sorry, we may run a little late, but for those that have to leave at 3:30, we can certainly share the recording out with you later. I'm going to share my desktop again. And we are going to clean up some of this. Oops, sorry, what happened? Okay, let me clean some of this up and I'll get back. So, okay, forgive me, bear with me. All right, so we showed you the library. I want to show you some resources for students for career. So I'm going to go to my.troy.edu because I've put so many tabs on, I'm not sure where anything is right now. And good, it's logging me in. Okay, great. Oh, here's the career stuff. So when I went to my.troy.edu to students, I just head over to the career services area here, and we can shoot that link out to you. In fact, I'm going to do that now to be polite. Okay, let's see. And if we forget to do anything, just tell us after the session. We'll put together kind of an infographic for you or a guide, and we can get that out to you too. So let me go back here. Career services. For those who haven't actually seen this, there are career services regardless of where you live and learn. This is what I love about working for Troy and being a Trojan, is that we serve all our students regardless of where you live and learn. So here is a really wonderful career guide and career blueprint that can kind of walk you through if you have a specific career goal. This has just been added on recently, so it's very helpful. But I think what I'm going to show you today, okay, is Handshake. This is where you can search the job databases and look for a job in grant management, Catherine, or whatever you want to focus on next. I think and there's of course on-demand information on resumes, interviewing, job searching, graduate school, that sort of thing. But the one thing I do want to show you today is mock interview, or big interview. I'm sorry, it's called big interview. This really cool thing can help you do an online interview like Skype, and it records it and it'll send it to whoever you want, like your faculty advisor, or to it will send it to career services, to Donna Brown, and they'll give you input on how you did on your interview. Has anybody ever heard or tried this before?
I did it in undergrad at Spelman.
Great, at Spelman. Was that a useful resource for you?
Yeah, it was very useful. I mean, I was already in a career by the time I finished, but it was still required.
Oh, it was required.
It was required.
I love that.
For seniors in order to graduate.
Okay. Thank you, Catherine. So even if you cannot walk physically into career services at the moment, you can still access everything they're doing online, and there's still the job database. There is still the big interview. There's all the on-demand resources. Donna Brown is the specialist that manages Troy, the online student career resources, and she's absolutely marvelous. So don't hesitate to take advantage. Hopefully we're introducing you to some new things you haven't seen before, even the ones that have been with us for a while. Any questions on career services? Or Robert, anything you want to add on that?
No, I think that's good on that.
Okay, very good. So we'll move to the next thing. And okay, I do want to show you the Teams environment just for a minute. I know I gave you kind of the emergency magic ribbon thing, but if you download Microsoft Teams to your computer or smartphone, and if you sign in using your Trojan Pass credentials, Trojan Pass username and ID, guess what you can do? You can contact any Troy faculty, staff, or students in a heartbeat. In fact, Erica, may I have permission to email you, or it's not email, to chat with you here? I'm going to take that as a yes because I can't hear her. So you see here I am in Teams. I have the downloaded version. Okay, we're not the meeting, but the downloaded version. And I go, so chat, and then any student, faculty, or staff, all right? So Erica is going to come up. Here she is, Erica Barnes Ford. And if it doesn't populate for you automatically, you can just put her name or her email. Hello, Erica. Okay, so I could even add Catherine into this chat right here. Catherine, let's see, add. Great job winning the conference poster session. These two ladies are amazing. I'm so happy. Y'all have made my day by coming today. So let's say Catherine and Erica and I needed to meet to look at a paper of theirs. They could start a video call with me from their phone. They could start a phone call with me. And during that time, we could screen share and actually see their paper or their document, just like we're doing in this meeting. So if you download Teams, and we will send you the link to download Teams if you'd like, on your smartphone or on your computer, this is a great way of getting hold of any student, faculty, or staff. Not all of them use it, but if they do use it, this is a way Erica can reach me at 11 at night, right? And Catherine can reach me at 11 at night to work on something that they need to work on. Any questions or comments about Microsoft Teams before I move on to the next goodie we want to show you? Okay, and it's been pretty useful, right? The ones that have used it? Yeah, I see some nodding heads. Let us move on to help desk tickets. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so I will send you guys this link, but it is a special new website. Oh, you can't see that, can you? Robert's spank me whenever I don't. Just tell me when you can't see me, be like, no, bad. You didn't do that right.
Can't see it.
No worries. Let me reshare. Okay, I made a little boo-boo there. So you can see my beautiful background. And here's the special site that IT set up. And I'm going to show you why this is so amazing. Because you can put in a help desk and get free, very, very quick help from Troy just by like a click of a button. So I'm going to minimize you here, Robert. And I'm putting in that IT help desk thing. This is like a shortcut, a magic shortcut to getting help from Troy. Okay, so let's go back to that. It is now in the chat box if you want to grab that link. And here are the remote productivity tools. Don't let that name scare you. It's just, think of it as like super quick help desk ticket. So what you do is on this website, find the thing you need help on. It could be Teams. It could be voicemail. You guys don't need that. It could be Canvas. Most likely you guys are going, this was where you'd put your ticket in. Canvas, offers of help. But for today, let's do Teams. All you have to do to get help is go to this, visit this link. That's it. Click on it and say, submit a ticket and fill it out. And boom, you have help. And our IT team is amazing. So I'm going to show that again because a lot of people don't know this is there yet. And I just think this is the coolest thing I've seen in ages. So I'm on this it.troy.edu/remote. I don't let the fancy name scare me. It's just a quick way to get help. I go, let's say I'm struggling with Canvas. like, oh my gosh, my digital theater thing I'm supposed to click from Canvas doesn't work. All I have to do, visit this link to request support, submit a ticket, follow the stuff, and hit, of course, request at the bottom after you filled it out. Super easy. Any questions on this help desk shortcut? I'm seeing shaking heads. No. Okay. Have any of you ever tried that before or not yet? Okay. It's going to be super helpful. I've used it like a billion times. I'm sure IT hates my guts right now. Okay. All right. Let's move on. We've covered Teams. Check. Library. Check. Career. Help desk. I would also suggest using the mobile app, but I'm not sure how to share that with you guys, but I'll mute for a second. Has anybody used the mobile app to reach Canvas and other things, and can you share your experiences?
Hey, the mobile app is actually, it's slow to load, but it actually, you can see your emails, you can see your class information. I mean, when I'm in Atlanta on Thursdays, it's my way of making sure I get everything done. So.
You're muted.
F. I get an F. Thank you, Robert. If you guys are used to using a campus computer, you're a campus student, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even have a computer, you can actually access a lot of the things you need through the mobile app. So I recommend, oh, Robert, show us what you're looking at there. Let's see. Now you're muted, my friend.
I'm just going to see if it'll focus.
Yes.
There you go. Let's see.
Whoa, dude. We can see our team. You can even use a Teams meeting through the phone.
I'm using my iPad now. I'm using my iPad. I use my phone. So I try to have multiple sources of when somebody is responding. So I use it all.
Very good, Catherine. And Robert, did you mention that was it only K through 12 that like Comcast and Charter might be providing some sort of free services?
I think it's all students. It might be K-12, but I want to say it's all students right now in this area. I would imagine if you're a student and have some kind of hardship or need that you can't have internet access, that they're out there. I think a lot of the initial stuff, like I know that Zoom was offering free accounts, free pro accounts for K. I think that's what
that was K through 12.
Zoom was K-12,
right.
And I think Comcast and Charter was everybody.
Exactly. Okay.
But if you're a student, then you can get internet right now. And just in general, just because of what we're dealing with, a lot of these ed tech companies are offering things, at either reduced prices or free. Yes. And that's, to me, that's awesome. I had McGraw-Hill just gave my class, my discrete mathematics class, free connect. Which is about $100 per person usually, and they gave it to 46 students for free. So nice. That's $4,600 worth of things. So, I mean, if we, at this point, if you need, ask, because the answer is probably yes.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that with us. The last two tools that I think we had planned to share with you involve Canvas. Most of you know your way around Canvas quite well if you've had an online class before. If you're brand new to Canvas, we'll just tell you that the way you navigate is on this left-hand side here so that you can access your announcements and syllabus and your grades, of course. Several of you may not have used NetTutor before, even if you're experienced Troy Online students. And NetTutor can provide specific subject tutoring. It's all free, all free. So if you're in an anthropology class, you can either meet with a live tutor or drop off a question. And it's all through here virtually. Okay, so this is great stuff. But the way most of my students in public administration use it is they use the writing paper and writing center. And it can take anywhere from 20 minutes to 3 days. It's usually around 24 to 48 hours. You can either do a live tutor to help you with your paper or drop off your paper and they'll get it back to you. And Catherine and Erica, if you could unmute and kind of share what your experience has been so far, that would be quite helpful.
We had an opportunity last term to submit our paper for the first time to NetTutor. And what we found was they got back, I guess I submitted it around 10 o'clock that morning. We had it back by 11:30 with everything, all the suggestions, what they thought were the pros and things and cons. It was very good because we actually, got your opinion on it as well, Dr. Waldner, and we agreed that they did a great job. Because we were just testing it at the time.
Yeah, so it's free and it's a great way to get some writing help. So if you feel like, oh, I can't go to the campus anymore, as long as you have access to a Canvas shell, you will be able to access writing services and live and drop-in writing help. The other thing, help resource that is fabulous in these Canvas shells, well, there's of course a help function here where you can get Canvas help, but we wanted to show you something special, which is the discussion, because there's a secret superstar embedded in every discussion board. That's the Ask the Associate discussion. Those are professional staff advisors, not bots. They're real people and they're all wonderful. And this is the head of the ASA team. They're called Academic Services Associates. They're basically professional staff advisors, and you can ask them anything. Even, I don't know how to register, or dang it, I can't get into this database that I'm supposed to find. And they will help you or figure out who needs how you can get help. So simply by replying to the Ask the Associate, you have access to a professional staff advisor, and you can reach that access anytime. Their office hours may be a little limited now, but they'll respond to you as soon as they can. So a lot of you may not know there's a secret person embedded there. Robert, do you want to comment, or anybody else want to comment about that?
Hey.
Yes.
I'm not sure what your experience is with Ask the Associate, but I'm talking from experience. That Ask the Associate is strictly, do you need a graduation date? Do you need to know when to put your application in for graduation? It has nothing to do with the actual class.
Correct. Okay, that's a really good point, Cindy. I'm so glad you raised that. If you have questions about an assignment or grades or a quiz, they're going to just refer you to your instructor and connect you with your instructor. But let's say you're a campus student and you are not sure how to get to the library now, or how do you get career stuff, or my goodness, how do you register online? Because some people walk in with a form to their advisor to register. Those are the kinds of things that the ASA can help you with. So yes, correct, Cindy. They really don't answer questions, ironically, about the nitty-gritty of that class itself, although they can help you find a discussion board. But they're not going to ask like grade-related questions and things like that. That is an outstanding point. Any other thoughts and observations on that? Okay, so I'm going to be quiet and see what kind of other success tips you'd want to share with each other, or that you want to ask about.
So, Dr. Waldner, one of my biggest pet peeves since I've been in the program is when we're turning in work on the discussion board, a lot of times the formatting is off. We've gotten it. I wouldn't say we have it down to a science, but it's been better now. But even with references, if you're following the APA style, sometimes when you're trying to post the references online, they're off. I've also gone to using 365 now, and I noticed that it's still a problem a lot of times that the stuff seems to get off track when you're submitting it, when you hit send in the discussion board. And that's always been a pet peeve of mine since I've been in the program. Okay. So if I hear you correctly, let me feed that back to you to make sure I'm answering the correct question. So you're formatting all your beautiful references in Word, which, by the way, if you want, we can teach you how to do that automatically, whether you're using APA or whatever. Word has a tool that will format the references for you, by the way. Yeah, so you've done that. And then now you're trying to put it in the discussion board, and it's chewing it up and making it look awful, correct? I think the answer to that would be to possibly learn some formatting tricks in the Canvas environment in what's called rich text format, which I can send you some information on. But I want to hear Dr. Vilardi's take on this. I don't know if there's an easy way to copy and paste and make the formatting look fantastic. Dr. Vilardi, any thoughts on that?
Actually, my first comment to you was going to be on rich text formatting. That's the issue, is it's the RTF formatting that you're seeing in Word versus Canvas. They don't talk well to each other. And so the problem is that, you know, you have it beautiful in Word and it's all set up using, you know, the different, you know, formatting cues that they have in Word, and then you put it in Canvas and they just don't all migrate. And that's unfortunate. And I believe, you know, if usually if I have something that's heavily formatted, like you know, something that's mathematical or something like that, then, you know, I'll post it as an attachment as opposed to posting it in the text box itself. In the text box, you're kind of limited to the kind of formatting that exists in Canvas itself, as far as I know. So I don't have a great answer for you there, but I have dealt with it, you know, prior to that. It just doesn't communicate as well back and forth, cutting and pasting between the two.
Yes.
Thank you.
I guess a sneaky.
It's hard. It's gotten better, but it's hard sometimes.
It can be terribly annoying when you spent so much time to get it in there. I bet there's a secret trick by somehow taking it to HTML and then your Word document. I don't know. I bet you there's a trick, and we can ask. You know what? I'm going to ask. But you could also, if your teacher lets you submit an attachment, of course, you could put an attachment or a file in here if they'll let it. This is just a text reply, but if they've enabled you to submit something else. The other secret thing you could do is, okay, this is kind of complicated, but I can show it to you. So I had this beautiful table that I wanted to post in there, right? And so I took into the discussion board, I grabbed the snipping tool. This is too much information. And I copied it. And then what I did is I embedded that image in here so it showed up. But that is not an easy thing to do. So that there are workarounds, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put in a ticket because I want to find out if there's a simpler way to preserve your Word formatting. That is an excellent question, Catherine. Other thoughts, tips you want to share with each other, observations?
Well, I have another, I have an observation, and it is that there isn't always, I guess I want other students to know that there isn't always consistency across the board with each instructor's expectation, especially when it comes to like turn it in and how many times, for instance, you can take a quiz, or how long, you know, I had that experience a couple of terms ago where I had one professor that said, hey, submit this paper through Turn It In as often as you need until the deadline. But then I had another professor, without asking, I submitted a draft, and that was my final because Ooh. She said, who told you could submit multiple times? We don't do that. And I said, oh, okay, wrong class. Okay, so I've had to learn along the way. And so I kind of want people to recognize that. I also know that there's some professors, for instance, that will give quizzes weekly. Well, you may have one professor might say, take this quiz until you score 100. If you need to take it 50 times, as long as you score 100, that's, but you've got until this particular deadline. I have other professors that say you've got 30 minutes to answer 20 questions. You have 1.5 minutes to read and 1.5 minutes to respond, and whatever your grade is, just your grade. And so there isn't a lot. I mean, and obviously that's a prerogative of the instructor, but certain things like Turn It In, for instance, there's not a general rule, and I just want people to be aware of that because that's caught me. There's something else that there are some other things that have caught me over the last couple of years as well. But those, I think that's the major one. That was the major one. Just recognizing and understanding that every teacher is not the same.
I think that's an outstanding point, Erica, and you are reminding us of something important, that many instructors will let you use Turn It In to self-check your assignment for plagiarism before you submit it. But as Erica has very, very fortunately brought up, maybe not all teachers. So I guess the protocol might be to email or contact them, through Teams or however they communicate, and say, Dr. Joe, can I submit this in advance to check for plagiarism? Or if I submit this once, can I do it? And so what I've done, when I've set it up, I've set this assignment up in my class so that students can check it as many times as they want for plagiarism before they submit the final draft. But you're correct, Erica, it really depends on the teacher, and some may not have integrated that at all. So once you sort of learn how to use that, and the Turnitin is kind of embedded here, check with your professor before making assumptions. And that even includes whether you're allowed to cite your own materials from a previous class, like a paper that you yourself wrote in a previous class. In my class, I welcome students to do that, and I would be interested in hearing Dr. Vilardi's take. But in other classes, you're going to get an F for plagiarism. So that is a brilliant point, Erica. Every faculty member is different, and we're given a lot of leeway so we can teach you the way that we think is optimal. But it does mean you should check and not make assumptions. Dr. Vilardi, do you have anything to weigh in on that?
I did a Teams yesterday with my discrete class, and just one of my students in that class brought up a similar thing. It wasn't necessarily as far as different requirements as far as in the class itself, but just different methodologies as far as, you know, some use Teams, some use Zoom, some used, you know, apparently this flip thing that was, you know, that was mentioned earlier, flip grid. And I mean, and like you said, it's not one size fits all. We're all completely different. And I think for online students and for in-class students as well, you know, the idea that, you know, one class is going to look like the next, even in the same department. I mean, you could be in you know, the same department taking the subsequent class, the next class that's in your major, and it's graded completely different. So I think that your comments are well founded, and my suggestion is to anybody who ever asks me this kind of thing is you know, review the syllabus and check with your instructor. You know, check with your instructor. Most of us are really just, you know, we're as available as we can be for questions, and you know, we'll give you as much feedback as we can, and we all want you to do well. Every one of us wants you to do well. So you know, my suggestion is if you had something that in the past, you know, like being able to use Turnitin or something like that, you've had it in the past and you thought that it was useful, day one in the class, hey, I did this previous to now, can we do it? And a lot of professors, they may not have even thought about that. It may be a tool that they didn't know they had access to, or something that they haven't used previously, and they weren't as comfortable with it. Particularly right now that you know, that some of them never been online before, they've never even messed with Turnitin before. It's like, okay, well, what's that? You know, so if you start, you know, day one, say, listen, you know, in Dr. Waldner's class last semester, we were allowed to cite ourselves. Is that okay? You know, or in you know, in Dr. Vilardi's class, we were able to, you know, submit it one time before we did the final submission, so that we kind of have a rough draft. And you know, this way, the worst thing they could do at that point is say no, and this way you're not caught off guard. So.
Perfect. I couldn't agree more. Any other questions or observations people would like to share? And I would welcome you all to tell us, if we do this virtual coffee again, what other things we should be showing. It sounds like there's pretty heavy demand for a library session, so we'll get with Jay Brandis, and I see lots of nodding, like, oh, the bobblehead. Yeah, they're like, yes, right. Yes. Right. So tell us what you want to know. Also, I believe we have this faculty member, Dr. Connor Wu, and he's going to set up kind of a peer student mentoring. So for the students that are on a campus, could be Montgomery or Troy, that are now forced online, or having this online adventure, they may need another student to mentor them. And if for those who may need a mentor or want to volunteer, Catherine and Eric, I'm looking at you, Cindy, you too, because you're very experienced in this environment. We will love to offer to connect you with a peer student mentor. Get in touch with me and we'll connect you with Dr. Wu for that kind of thing. So yes.
I'm sorry. There were two things I wanted to say. One, there was a guy named Bill Gage who was trying to get into the conversation.
Oh, sorry.
And he just got out. He left the conversation. So that's one. The other thing I wanted to mention, which is totally as an aside, and you know, you're one of my favorite people, so we'll do whatever you ask us to do. But with the program itself, the way that it's structured, I do have a concern, and it is that I think that if you have core classes, that the core classes should be offered every term, no matter what, right? Even if it's just one teacher. And I bring that up, and you already know the situation. I needed an ethics and budget class. I've taken all these other classes. Ethics wasn't even available. It was available 16 times last term. It's not available at all this term. And so for a person who's doing it online, who has a weird schedule, I'm going to have to wait until the summer or the fall to be able, well, the summer. I think Dr. Anderson's teaching it this summer, but it wasn't even available. And so I just wanted to make a note that maybe in the scheduling, when they do the scheduling, that at least even if the electives are not offered, but that the core classes be offered every single term, just for our I'm going to say for our convenience, but yeah, for our convenience.
That's a fair point, and we will definitely convey that to the program director in your program. I would also say, Eric, I'm glad you mentioned that, because hello, Alex, I see you're with us, but you don't have a microphone. We're glad you're here. Sorry. Student planning is a really good tool. So let's say that you don't have core classes that are offered every term. You can often use student planning to map out your degree program, and several students don't know about student planning. It actually helps you program your classes all the way through and decide what you're going to take. There's tricks so that you can utilize and actually see what's offered in term one, not just, every single class available. And your faculty advisor can help you with input on that. So if we can't have every class available every term, we could at least use student planning to help students optimize that. And so when we do our next session, I'm making a note, maybe we'll show people how to use the student planning function, because some have never possibly accessed that. So we'll maybe get Maggie Uphouse here and have her demonstrate that. Okay. Thank you. Very good. Other thoughts, tips, suggestions? And I saw, I feel terrible. Bill Gage had a question in the chat box, and because I was so focused talking to you guys, I didn't see it. That is one danger of being a webinar host, is you have to have eyes everywhere. So
I missed it too.
yeah,
but
sorry.
I actually just reached out to him via chat. So if he has a question, then I'll answer it. I missed it too, so that's
Yeah.
my mistake. But we're busy sharing other stuff. So. Anyway, but yeah, it was on ProctorU, I believe, is what he was asking about.
Yeah, so let's address this question for the others. Do you want to repeat what his question was so everybody else can hear?
It said, who should we ask about whether ProctorU is an option for a class? One I'm in is not clear about it. It shows it as an option, but is not listed the classes on schedule on ProctorU, and I'm not sure to even ask. Okay. And it says, I posted and asked the associate, but not gotten a reply yet. So I'm guessing that what happened with his class is that while it's going to be an option, his professor has not done their yes. Online proctor form yet.
Correct.
And so as soon as their professor does the online proctor form, it will be available. It's just not currently. That's my guess.
And I would say they should contact the professor and say, oh, I'm wondering, is this what we're planning to do? Because again, especially the campus faculty that are going online, some of them are still trying to figure out the optimal way to offer you the final exam. Whereas it would have been in class, now it might be through a proctored arrangement, or it might be through Canvas without a proctor. So I would recommend to Bill and everybody else to just feel free to email the instructor and ask as well. And be patient both with ourselves, with the technology, and with your faculty, because we're still trying to figure this out. This is a new era for a lot of us. So Bill, I apologize we didn't get you, but at least we got you in the recording. And let's see, and I see Delile is here, and let's see, other folks, Alex, Caitlin's here. Anybody else has a question, feel free to unmute or post it in the chat area, which we'll try to watch. Okay, we'll stick around just a few more minutes too, in case anybody has one-on-one questions. All right.
Dr. Waldner, how do
Yes.
you, if you don't mind, this might sound a little silly, but how do we recapture the meeting chat? Like once we hang up, will that be sent to us in an email or just going back into our history? How do we get all of the information that you so kindly listed, all the different, links? How do we get that?
So Erica, the first thing, you have Teams downloaded. So I know for you that the minute that you close out this meeting in Teams, it'll show up as a chat. And so you and Catherine, I know you're expert and pros on Teams because you use it to contact all your staff and faculty. So you'll have it right there. For the other folks who might just be joining us through a link and don't have Microsoft Teams downloaded, I think what Dr. Vilardi and I will try to do is put together a list of the key resources we covered and the key links so nobody gets left out. So we'll also offer to put together a little something today or tonight or tomorrow perhaps on that so nobody gets left out. We will also grab this recording and I'll have to tweak a permission or two, but then I'll share it with you so everybody can have it, and I'll share it to all College of Arts and Sciences students so that you'll be able to watch this thing again, like you have nothing better to watch, right? And again, what's that?
I said it's an hour of fun and friends, right?
Well, especially when you bring your cute little French bulldog there. I would come again just for that. And we're happy to do this again. I don't know, as long as Dr. Vilardi doesn't mind, maybe next week and tweak it and show you different things. So even if you missed the first few pieces, you could come in with us again and ask us. Any thoughts on that, Dr. Vilardi?
Personally, I think that's a great idea. I think we should do these, often. Like I said last week, I think once a week virtual coffee time is to me, it's a great idea.
Okay,
So.
Good. All right, excellent. Very good. Well,
We
it
definitely
is.
appreciate it.
Oh, well, we appreciate you coming and come to as many as you want. And you two ladies, I will buy you Malaysian lunch again to make up for you showing and asking such great questions. Next time it's
We
on
owe
me.
you.
No. All right, folks, we'll close out the session, but if you have any one-on-one questions, feel free, I'll close out the recording. Feel free to stick around. And we are so impressed with how resilient our students have been. We know and we agree that your loved ones and your safety comes first, but look at you all, you're still plugging away at school and even still trying to improve your skill sets. We are here for you. You guys are our priority one. And we thank you for being so patient and resilient with everything. So kudos to all of you. So
Thanks so much.
Our pleasure. Thanks for coming today, all. We'll go ahead and stop the recording now, but we will stick around.
Okay.
Okay.